Hello and welcome to the Mask Review, where we review all things pop culture, comics, and pretty much anything that's happening in the world right now. I've been seeing a lot of interest in The Rings of Power, the new Amazon show that will be coming out in September, I believe. And I just wanted to voice my opinion on it and have a quick look into it. So, first image we have here that I've gracefully started the video with is Galadriel in battle armor. Now, I'm no Tolkien scholar, I'm no Tolkien expert, but I can tell you one thing, I do enjoy Lord of the Rings. I've read the books. I had The Hobbit read to me as a bedtime story as a child. I had to wait for all of the Lord of the Rings movies to be released in the cinema to go see them. Absolutely loved them. I know Christopher Tolkien wasn't a big fan of those movies, but hell, I love them. One of the greatest trilogies ever made. And yeah, me and my friends have very much bonded over those movies. So, Lord of the Rings is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And honestly, I don't like what I'm seeing coming from this show. So let's just hop right over to this article and we'll see. So, why are people so angry about the Rings of Power? So, the past week has offered audiences their first glimpse at Amazon's upcoming Lord of the Rings series titled The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Amazon has a lot riding on the Rings of Power. The mere existence of the show invites comparisons to Peter Jackson's groundbreaking Lord of the Rings trilogy, a touchstone for millennium audiences, even more than The Wheel of Time. Again, another series I am quite fond of. I have most of the books. I haven't read all of them yet. They are very, very word intensive to get through, but I do like The Wheel of Time. I watched the show. I enjoyed it. Was it the greatest show I've ever seen? No. But I enjoyed it. It was a good watch. There was a few things that was wrong with it, but for a time pass or just to sit there on my couch and watch it, I watched it. I liked it. The Rings of Power is a transparent attempt by the streamer to produce the next Game of Thrones. Right, before we actually continue, I just want to highlight this. The next Game of Thrones. Lord of the Rings and the world of Middle Earth is very, very different to A Song of Ice and Fire and the world of Westeros. It is massively different. They are in no way comparable. One, like they're just totally two different settings. They're two different moods. Like Game of Thrones had a very, very specific design and set. Yes, it took influence absolutely from Tolkien's work, but it is a very different tone. Now, I have seen reports in the past that Jeff Bezos basically said he wants the next Game of Thrones. So I believe the executives and the powers that be in Amazon heard that and were like, right, so we have to do it like Game of Thrones. And that's the feel I'm getting from this. But and anyway, let's continue on. Initial estimates suggest a $1 billion budget for 6 seasons, but more recent estimates suggest the first season alone cost 465 million. This is shaping up to be one of the most expensive shows ever. Ever. So it has to be good for Amazon. For this to work, it has to be good. As such, the streaming service was probably hoping for a universally positive reaction to the first publicly material to hit the internet. The title was revealed towards the end of January. First look images were released last week. The first trailer was broadcast during the Super Bowl, uh, turning the release of the footage into an event in itself. As with any new adaptation of work with a devoted fandom, the online response has been something of a catastrophe. Okay, so before we get on to the next part, I'll just pop over here and we will look at this. This is the trailer for the Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. It has nearly 29 million views, but look at this ratio. 106,000 upvotes to 159,000 downvotes. And if I'm correct, the UK trailer is similar, if not worse. So the reaction to this has been pretty bad. Just absolutely awful. Well, let's get back to that article. And anyway, so some of this is a reactionary backlash accompanying any modern product with female characters or characters of color. Now, characters of color, okay? Yes, Tolkien went very much into the geniality of his characters, but this is live action, okay? They're actors. I don't care what color you are, what race you are, what religion you are. As long as you can play the part and I get immersed and I have a form of escapism when I'm watching this, I don't care. But if the showrunners and the writers are shoving identity politics and trying to subvert my expectations, that's where I have a problem. I want to sit down, I want to watch a goddamn good fantasy, and I want to enjoy what I'm watching. And with everything that's coming out about this, I don't think it will. Now, I know there was a bit of backlash about the female dwarf. There was a whole argument about race swapping. Again, I don't care what colour you are, as long as you are a good actor and can play the part. The one thing I do have a problem is, where the hell's her damn beard? Should have had a beard. Female dwarves have beards. Maybe they'll fix it post-production. I don't know. But she better have a goddamn beard come September when I tune in to watch that show. So, showrunners Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne are candid about how little they care for such complaints. Now, again, going back to this, it's not some complaints, it's a lot of complaints. A lot of complaints. They need this show to do well. The whole point of streaming services is that they create these shows, they don't get ad revenue for it, they have to pull in new subscribers. So, for this show to be cost effective, it needs to be pulling in a lot of subscribers just to watch the show. So, if it's not doing that, it's not going to make money, and Amazon are going to be very angry. Other complaints concern the art adaptation, especially changes made to the source material's chronology. Some people just don't like the title. The release of all this publicly material in a contradicted period brought all of these complaints bubbling back to the surface, especially for anybody who uses social media. Of course, it's worth stressing that the internet's not real life. If it were, Snakes on a Plane would have been a blockbuster success, and nobody would have gone to see Avatar. There's a tendency to assume that the volume and intensity of online discourse translate to the real world in a way that isn't true. It seems likely that most people who saw the title Lord of the Rings of Power, or saw the screenshots last week, or happened upon the trailer during the Super Bowl, just thought that it was cool that Amazon is making Lord of the Rings television series, and they wanted to continue about their business. There's a tendency to overinflate the importance of fans and success of a project like this, at the expense of the more relaxed mainstream audience. Of course, fans of J.R. Tolkien have historically been a very traditionalist and conservative group. This makes a certain amount of sense given that Lord of the Rings is a story that is, at least in part, about trying to conjure the memory of a lost and idealized past. Peter Jackson's trilogy might be beloved by the mainstream audience, but it faced an uphill battle trying to appeal to the hardcore fandom that seemed almost resentful of the novels being adapted at all. People are looking to go back at it now, and they're going to think, we share something in common, said Ted Tishop, co-founder of TolkienOnline.com. In December 2001, if the movie fails, I'll have a sense of relief. It's selfish, I know, but I'll have a snobbish attitude of, thank goodness I can still enjoy my books. On the release of The Fellowship of the Ring, some fans ghost at Jackson's decision to bulk up the roles of female characters, and others complained Jackson was... Jesus. Who wrote this? The Escapist. Right. This is... Every little nugget of it. This is just screaming that maybe they got a little bit of a backhand off Amazon to try to promote this, because it's not actually taking the concerns of the show. So, like, we'll go back up here, and this is Elrond. This is what Elrond is meant to be. This looks nothing like Elrond. They could have got a better character, a better actor that more resembled the Elrond that we know, or even the Elrond that's in the books. But no. So there is genuine criticism here and genuine worry. I'm not going to continue on reading this article. It's just drivel at this point. But I do have a worry about this show. I know that they actually do not have rights to the Second Age. So the Silmarillion and all the books, Unfinished Tales, they have no rights to them. None. The rights that Amazon bought were for the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, the Return of the King, and the appendices. The appendices, I believe, is about 150 pages. This is going to be a 6-season show based on information in the appendices. If they go anywhere near information that's in the Silmarillion or Unfinished Tales, they will get sued. So they have to be very careful what they put in here. Now, I have heard that they are going to run away with the story or write the book that Tolkien never wrote. He did write those books, but you just don't have the rights to them. Let me know what you think. Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below to let me know your views on The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, made by Amazon. Goodbye.